The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and welcome to Sisters Speak on Inspire 105.1 FM. And you're here with me today, Faiza.
Me, Lamisa.
And me, Mariam.
And welcome back to our show, guys. Mariam and Lamisa, who haven't joined Sisters Speak for a very long time now.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back.
And for those just listening in, Mariam, tell the listeners what our show is about.
So our show is a platform for Muslim girls to voice their own opinions on current events and issues, and even form discussions on general topics such as religion, culture, politics and social media. We want to note that all opinions and views are our own, and we respect all other opposing views.
Thank you for that. So for those listening, as you just heard, this is a sisters-based show on Inspire 105.1 FM. So today is kind of more of a freestyle show. This is more of just a string of things that we just kind of want to cover.
Kind of like a podcast kind of, vibe.
Yeah. So the basis of it is about life. Is life what you make it? And we will just talk about different areas within that. So before we get started, on our show we do this every single week, this little segment called Thought for the Week. Now this is something that we want to share, a story, maybe a rant for some of us, something beneficial for ourselves first and foremost, and our listeners as well. And if the listeners also, if you want to get involved, let us know what your thought for this week is. If you want to share something that will be beneficial, please do join in our discussion. So you can do that by texting or WhatsApping us on 07779 481822, or you can join in on our Facebook Live and then comment underneath there. So yeah, who wants to go first? Lamisa.
I thought it was a question.
Rhetorical.
Okay, so I don't know if this is going to be beneficial for anyone else, but or it might be. When you have sushi on the train, just make sure that you
Repeat.
So
Just repeat that.
I thought this wasn't going to be beneficial for anyone.
Sushi fans, I guess.
Sushi.
Yeah, sushi. If you want to have sushi on the train, make sure that you know how the box opens, because if you don't know and you end up spilling it all over the train, then you're going to be really sad, because sushi's quite expensive as well.
Oh my god.
So essentially, I'll map it out for you guys. The whole day I had lectures, and this was, I think, on a Thursday, so it's usually the day I go home. So it's my final day of lectures, and I went the whole day without eating anything. Again, this seems to be a repetitive pattern, but
right.
Yeah, the whole day I went without eating anything, and then I went to St Pancras Station, and I thought, you know what, I'll pick up something to eat because I have some time before my train. And yeah, everything was going fine. I was going to catch the 22-minute train, so I'll be in Luton really quickly. And then I got on the train, I had my sushi, and in my head, I was thinking maybe I shouldn't invest in the sushi. I think it was like £6 for only, I don't know if you guys can see on Facebook, like, it was like this much. And I was like, I really shouldn't be doing this because I don't have a lot of money anyway. And I still went for it. And then I sat on the train. And everything was going fine. Like, I got on the train before the train was even meant to go off, like 5 minutes before, which is a new thing for me. Usually I'm like running and I just get in as the doors are closing. And then I was trying to open it from the sticker, and I didn't realise that there was a pull tab on the other side. So when I opened it, the tray literally fell. And I even had the tray, like the eating tray, the food tray out.
Oh.
I didn't put it on there. I was holding it and it fell, and all of like the salmon rolls, everything.
Was there someone sitting next to you?
No one sitting next to me.
Goodness.
But I shouted really loudly after that happened as well, and it was really, really sad. And then all my salmon was on the floor, and the only thing that survived were these two little like tuna rolls. Out of the whole day, £6. It was like I just chucked it on the floor. I was really sad.
You know, it could have been
Yikes.
like,
I could have got food poisoning from it. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I just sort of.
I wouldn't advise anyone else doing that, but the food tray is there.
next to you. I mean, like,
Everyone heard what happened though. Everyone heard what happened. And then while I was on the phone telling my friend the whole story, I heard someone in the seat behind me. They were laughing at me, laughing at my story. I was like, this is such a sad situation. But you know, it is what it is.
I mean, you know, use the food tray next
Use
time.
the food tray.
Especially
Don't be
if it's
in a
right in front of
haste, you know. Calm down, enjoy your food.
Breathe.
Breathe, and you know, Yeah, I guess don't rush when you're doing things because sometimes it ends up messing things up. Also, you can relate that to revision. Don't rush when you're doing revision. That's something I'm learning right now.
Or don't do it last minute.
And yeah.
What if you had so much other things, assignments?
You prioritise and time management. That is what
If
you
only
do.
it was that
This is
as easy as
advice.
that, you know. God.
You know, time management. Make a timetable. Manage your
It does
time.
not
Well,
work.
it does work if you put
Timetable.
your
I
head
hate
to it.
timetables.
No.
You know what? To everyone listening out there, give these two little things. Give these two little
objectifying.
women some advice about time management and revising. What's your best piece of advice that you can give for time management and revising? I'm not asking you to. I'm asking the listeners
Oh
to
my
give
gosh.
advice about time management and revision
Listen.
for those out there who are
Timetables.
struggling to time manage.
Timetables are not realistic. Okay.
Well, you had them in high school.
No,
Did you
but that's for lessons.
That's
That's,
for
different.
lessons.
That's for lessons. Where you have a person conducting the lesson, making you go through a plan. Whereas when it's by yourself, you sort of...
Yeah, but you still,
you
but
know.
you have exam timetables and you still work around your exam timetables, no?
What do you mean,
That's because
exam
you have to go
timetable?
sit in the exam.
Yeah, but still.
Exactly.
You guys
Well,
are
you
making
can't,
excuses.
You can't be like, timetables don't work, I'm not going to the exam.
Timetables work.
No, say if you say you're going to revise, I don't know, module number 1 from 11 to
You know what? We'll just
Once something
see.
pops up, then that's it. You're not going to go back to that.
This is my problem. Revision for exams, right? You have to revise all of your lectures, blah, 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 everything. But it's when the university gives you, during that revision period, so let's say over the Christmas break, like for us, it's practical write-ups. They give us like 10, 15 practical write-ups
Yes.
while we're trying to do our revision. So it's
That's
like,
my issue.
Yes.
and then you
I've
have
done
lectures
that as well.
after the holidays as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, when am I meant to revise the ones for like the whole 2 months I was at uni before Christmas and the whole extra 2 weeks after Christmas? And one lecture isn't like, it's easy. One lecture is like this many pages.
Yeah.
And it's,
And
it's
then
just
the lecturers have
ridiculous.
The cheek to say to you, oh, we hope you had a restful break. When?
How can I rest?
Time management. Anyways,
It's beyond time management.
beyond
It's
time management.
it's a different issue.
your rant's over now, guys. Now we're just going to focus on, being positive. Woo!
My exam's on Monday.
Okay.
Inshallah,
Good
everyone
luck.
make dua.
Inshallah, you will
Inshallah.
do
Okay,
really
so
well.
my thought of the week is batting off our little run. So today I received a really bad grade.
Oh,
I
no.
won't say it like that. But I wanna like, I think if I verbalize this, maybe I'll adopt my own advice. I think it's really about gratitude. So before, if I would get really bad grades, I'm not
But you
gonna
didn't
lie.
fail.
No, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you failed. Yeah, so
No.
But it's one of those ones where it's
No,
not the
but
one
still,
you
like-
wanted.
No, it's like no.
it's different if you failed, though.
No, like I've been in my second year. I worked tirelessly. See, I'm forgetting English, even though I study English. I worked
It's
really
one of them
hard in
days.
my second year to reach the grade average I was at.
Mm.
And this year, I'm putting extra hours. I'm prioritizing my studies completely. Like
Mhm.
everything else is becoming secondary, and somehow my grades are like worse than it was in first year. So I'm really like confused what's going on. So today I received one of my grades, and it's the worst grades I've ever got. And when I first opened it, I was like shocked, like completely flabbergasted. Like how did this happen?
Mhm.
Usually I would react in a really like, I'll probably start crying, let's be real. I'd be really upset about it, but straight away I was like, you know what, I don't even have time. I don't even have time to react. I don't even have time to react. I literally have to find a way, find a strategy to
Overcome it, yeah.
to overcome it, to elevate my like essays, because my degree is English literature. So after my like session, I literally straight away went to the academic tutor and I was like, when's your next session? I need to go to it. My grades are suffering completely. And I took a moment to step back and I just thought, that is what progression is when you're learning to confront challenges, but
Mhm.
also straight away I forced myself to say Alhamdulillah, because I was like, I didn't get 48. I got a 2-1 at least. Overall, I got
Yeah.
a 2-1, even though that's just bang on. the
How is
2-1.
that bad grade?
No, for me, let's not.
Right.
Okay, so, I think when you try to frame your mind in a way that you just think, okay, this has happened, you don't exactly know why. Like, for example, her sushi, like, falling over.
That
You-
honestly, that affected me throughout the whole day. I think I
I-
actually cried. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my
It's-
god.
It was really sad.
It's like when you expect something to happen and it doesn't go your way, it's really easy to kind of just react and you just think, why did that happen? Because you thought you had A, B, and C, and D like completely figured out.
Yeah.
It's there, and it should happen that way, and it's a logical thing to happen. But when it doesn't happen, it really can shake you. And I think as a Muslim, I think one thing that we have is that the feeling of hope. Like, you know that
100%.
there's something better in store. So, for example, maybe I got these grades, but maybe the next semester, inshallah, I'll get really good grades because I'm going to push myself a little bit more. I'm going to try to find the best strategy. And even if those grades don't come out the same way, at least I know that I was able to confront that challenge. I didn't just back away and I didn't give up. So at least I'll gain resilience.
Yeah.
And that's something that's needed throughout your whole life. So I think what my thought of the week is just force yourself, no matter how hard it is, to be grateful at that moment. Even if you don't feel it, just verbalize, just say it. And I keep saying it until like it makes you uncomfortable. Just keep saying it, and then you actually do feel that calmness.
Yeah.
And just think about, okay, what am I going to do next? How am I going to help myself out of the situation?
Yeah.
Ah, you both have had quite a few rants today, haven't you?
It's been a stressful week.
Stressful.
Yeah, I can clearly see that. Hopefully.
See that?
Yeah.
What do we
I
look
mean-
like?
You resonate with us.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
I mean, I'm more like.
She's had a good week, mashallah.
No. No, you know, just going with it. And then you two is more of like, woo. Just, you know, hope everything's all right. Breathe.
After next Thursday, everything will be fine.
I have not prepared for semester B. I've always been prepared for every semester. I haven't read one single thing. And in my degree, you have to at least read one module of the reading to be able to cope.
Okay.
So,
And once again, I ask the listeners out there, please give us
Time management.
one piece of advice for time management
it's not
Or-
applicable to read that.
or for revision. But it is. If you manage your time well, you can do all these things. Or maybe,
No, it's not even
or maybe you
time
should say no
management.
to other things.
You know what? It's not.
No,
I don't
what?
think it's time management. I think it's working more smart. I think I'm doing way too long
maybe,
hours. I'm not
yeah.
working strategically.
Time management.
Yeah, I think it's working smart.
It's time
not hard.
management.
Right. If it's time management, I'm to phase that.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, guys. I'm just in the mood today.
I think these two just need some advice about time management. So please do let us know. 07779 481 or you can text us. Yeah, or text or WhatsApp on that number, or comment on our Facebook live stream and let us know advice for time
What's
management.
your advice since you've experienced it?
Moving on. My
She
thought for
also
the
wants
week.
the advice.
I also want the advice.
Without admitting
Alright.
it.
I found this quote, okay, and I found it really interesting. So I want to know your thoughts, and I want to know everyone else who's listening as well. Please let us know your thoughts on this as well. So listen very carefully, everyone. Okay, right. The Japanese say you have 3 faces. The first face you show to the world. The second face you show to your close friends and your family. The third face you never show anyone. It is the truest reflection of who you are. Now, the question I have is, do you agree or do you disagree, and why?
Okay.
I'll repeat that, okay? The Japanese say you have 3 faces. The first face you show to the world. The second face you show to your close friends and your family. The third face you never show anyone. It is the truest reflection of who you are. Agree or disagree, and why? And
don't-
those listening as well, join in.
I don't agree with that.
Why?
Because with that idea, you're essentially saying that you never show your true self to anyone.
But
And
yourself.
I don't think that's true.
I don't.
Do you
I
show your true
think-
self to everyone?
But I think your true self is like what is your true self anyway? Number one
how
is
do
a
you define
philosophical
that?
question.
Hey,
What is your true self? Because I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but when I'm with different people, I'm a slightly different person. Not saying I have personality disorder or anything. It's just I am slightly different when I'm around
yeah.
different people. So it's like, which one is the true version of yourself? And I think your true version is sort of culminated with how you respond to different types of
And I
people.
also think it's how comfortable you are with.
so you didn't say if you agree or disagree.
I agree with Lamisa.
But do you agree with the quote?
I don't agree with the quote.
Why?
Because I feel also, as Lamisa said, I feel like it's about comfortableness. It's not about your fate, like your true reflection. So if I feel comfortable with one family member, it's
So
not
then-
necessarily because
yeah.
it's very definitive. That quote is very definitive. It doesn't allow to consider other kind of options. So if I'm going to be comfortable with one family member, not necessarily I'm going to be comfortable with the other. It doesn't work like that.
I think there's
There's different aspects to me that I would be comfortable in sharing with other people.
I think it's
then-
right in that sense, though.
It doesn't make me 10 faces. It just makes me that I have different things that I'm able
But I
to share
think that's
with.
what is, at the same time, I think that's what it's trying to say.
That's what it's trying to say.
I
that you have
think it's
different
trying to
faces
show,
for
I think it's
different
right in the
people.
sense that, yes, we are different to different people.
Yeah.
We
I
have
think
different
that
sides.
captures that essence. But I
Yeah.
don't think it's limited to
Because
tea.
technically you're kind of saying that you do show a different side to yourself to different people.
But I think
But the first one, it
phrasing
kind of captures, it says you show a different face to the world, which is true.
I think it's right in essence.
You do show a different face when you're with your friends and your close
But
friends
do
and
you
your
think
family.
your true self is something that you never show to anyone? That's the question, I think.
I think my true self, I don't know. I think how do we define what our true self?
How am I meant to
Your
show my true self when I don't even know what my true self is? Like,
It's how
I feel
you
like it can
are.
be the most raw.
I don't know.
Like the most raw
Authentic version of
to
yourself.
God.
How
I'm being real. Like I can unload in the most rawest way to God. If rawest is the word, I don't know. But yeah, I don't think I can do that with anyone else. And I think that version of me is something that's not tapped by anyone else. I think that is just truly there. And
Why?
because that's what I feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable sharing.
What
that
about with your
essence.
close friends and family?
No, I have trust issues.
Ooh, okay.
No, I'm just a person that doesn't
Yeah.
really open up.
No, that's fair enough.
It takes me a very long time.
Yeah.
And I would say the second person would be my mum. Like my mum, she sees me like in all different colours. So it's, I think it's also a relationship because you build relationships with people,
Yeah,
and that
definitely.
how much you invest in those relationships and how comfortable you feel. That's when your authenticity comes out, right? So if
Yeah.
you build your relationship with your parents or your a mother or anyone, the more close you get to that person, the more easier it is for them to see. So sometimes you don't even need to spell it out for them; they just can see you in that sense.
Agree? Disagree?
Um,
With what she just said?
What do you think, Faisal? Like, do you think that? I think that quote captures the essence.
No,
of
like I said before, like I think it's true. We have one face that we show to the world. The world can be
But it's-
anyone,
yeah.
anything, to be honest.
Yeah.
But if, in all honesty, that's what it is. The second face you show to your close friends and family, which is true. And the third one, of your truest reflection, yeah. But then I kind of would merge that with my close friends and family because they
yeah.
truly see me for who I am.
Yeah.
Even sometimes I don't know what I am, but they know what I am.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
sometimes-
mean?
Yeah, I do. I think sometimes people around you that are closest to you can see things that
You
you
can't
can't
see.
see about yourself.
And some things that you think you only realize about yourself, but they actually realize things about yourself as well.
I think it's really important to kind of consider that, and you should be able to trust their opinions when they're telling you, look, this is happening to you, and you're damaging yourself, or this is affecting you negatively. Don't abandon it. Don't
Yeah.
abandon it. Take their opinion because they truly care about you and they truly love you, and you should be able to kind of. They're only telling you that because it's out of your best interest.
Yeah, definitely. I think we should be really grateful to have those people in our lives who tell us when we're wrong, but they don't do it in the most
Patronising,
or harshest way. But
Because
they
they want to elevate
yeah.
you. They want
you to do
see
well.
They want to see you in your best way.
in
as
your
possible.
prime.
And so those conversations are not
Yeah.
anyone's going to have those uncomfortable conversations with you. Only the people that are closest to you because they invested in you. They want to see you progress.
Exactly. And there are people out there who want to see you fall. They're not going to say anything to you. Honestly, they're not.
It doesn't impact those people that don't care about you because they don't have anything to lose. Whereas the people that are closest to you, they don't want to see you fall, and therefore they will behave in a different way to the people that are outsiders or strangers to you. Like it's just a natural thing.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Yep. Moving on. So today's
When Faisal laughs, I get like, oh, what you gonna say now?
why?
I don't know.
So today's topic is, as stated before, a more of a free-flowing kind of conversation. Talking about life is just life. Yeah. My first question to those listening out there and those in the studio. Those listening, do join in our discussion today, 0779 481 That's text and WhatsApp, or you can comment on our Facebook live stream. Sorry about that. So, is life what you make it? That's a question for you guys.
Let me process it.
Right. Is life what you make it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why? How?
Just because if life wasn't what you make it, then what is life?
You just go with it.
Wow, that is, I wish I could write my essay in one line like that.
What is life? If you don't your life is your life, right? You live it however.
Yeah.
At the end, life is made up from our own choices.
Right.
So
Are they our own choices?
yeah, I believe they
Yeah.
are.
When
That's
do we?
free
Yeah,
will.
but at what age do we start making choices though? Because half our choices are made for us.
No, but anything. Even if you say half of your choices are made for us,
As in all the way up to a certain age. Like,
I
when
don't
did you
think-
start choosing to make decisions by yourself?
But you're choosing to listen to
At
the
what
people.
age?
But you're choosing to listen to the people that are telling you what to do. So that is kind of a choice.
Well, I haven't been alive for that long, but
Young child.
I'd say, you know, I think with me, making my own decisions was more of just a sort of process. As I grew up, my parents just let me make more and more decisions of my
Yeah,
own.
but at what age
But
did you?
It wasn't like a certain age where it was through high school I started to, you know, make my own
Make your own
decisions.
decisions.
But I think from everything, even as a young kid, anything to even like what you're going to eat or what you decide to not eat, everything is your choice. And that is your life at that stage. The people who you want to hang out with in school, that's your
Yeah.
choice. Everything is your choice. So life is what you make it. And that can, you know, be expanded to bigger things like, I don't know, your job and your career and your success and all of that type of stuff. You know, how you were talking about earlier, if you have sort of a setback or, you know, other people might class it a failure or whatever, the way you overcome that is how you're going to set out your journey thereon. If you decide to, like, you know,
Just
let that
stay
challenge stop
stationary.
you, then you're not going to be able to move on. And what are you making of your life? And at the end of the day, you're not, like, whatever's happened has happened. You can't change that.
Yeah.
I think that's something I've been realizing over the past year, that whatever has happened is something that I'm just going to have to accept, no matter
Yeah.
how hard that is. I can't go back and change it. No matter how many different other possibilities you think of and you, like, you know, imagine, like, if I'd done it this way, it would have been better. If I'd done it that way, it would have been better. Like, I can't change that. The only thing I can change now is is the future, is what's going to happen next. That's what I need to focus on. So life is
Yeah.
what you make it in that sense. It's all dependent on you and the choices that you make and how you want to live it. So yeah, that's my
Mariam?
2 cents.
Yes. No,
That's a good one.
No, I do completely agree. It is all about your own choice, because that's what God gave you, free will. He gave you free will, so you make your own choices. But at the same time, you don't have control over your circumstances. I think that's the only thing that we can distinguish.
Do you think that's a bad thing or a good thing?
I don't think it necessarily needs to be a bad
But
thing.
what do you mean we don't have control of our
So, for
circumstances?
example, like when something unexpected happens to you,
Okay.
right? You don't have control.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
Your sushi falling down, that was...
Yeah.
I'm just going to use that example.
Oh my god.
or I am receiving the grade.
It's a really sensitive subject.
Okay, the grade that I
That's not
received,
okay.
the grade that I didn't want. That's my circumstance, and I don't have control over that. I don't have control over it, but I have control over the way I react to it and the way I will move on from it. So that, in that sense,
Yeah, for sure.
I have that choice to be able to mobilize myself and move forward, or I have the choice to stay stationary and just mope about it. So that's where I get to choose.
But don't you think it's really hard at the same, like, as much as I said all of that earlier on, it's really hard to just
Yeah, of course.
keep
going. Like,
going, or whenever something's happened, like, even as much as you know everything, you can't change it. Isn't it really, really difficult to,
because in the moment, it's very hard to like.
but not even in the moment, like, even later on, like, say if I want to think, no, I'm going to study hard, I'm going to revise now, blah, blah, blah. But even just doing that is quite difficult as
I
well.
think is you need. I think for us, we need to just kind of take a step back and kind of reevaluate what's our purpose. Why are we doing this?
Exactly. I think,
Because when you have a purpose for something, it pushes you towards doing the thing that you need to do. When you're doing your A levels revision, you know you want to go to university, or you know you want to get those grades because it's an entry requirement for something else, something bigger. So that's what drives you. So
Yeah.
when you're doing anything in life, you need to think about, okay, what's your purpose? And even if you don't necessarily see the bigger picture at that moment, at least have that purpose. Actually, I'm doing something productive.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future I can use it to help people or create some sort of positive impact. And even if it's not that, if you're a Muslim, then you would just think, I'm doing it for the sake of Allah. That should be
Definitely.
satisfactory enough, because you're not wasting your time. And Allah doesn't like it when you waste your time. He wants you to utilize your time to the best.
Yeah, of course. I honestly cannot wait till the day you guys finish uni, because then you can see how much, like, I feel like, yes, of course you need to do your studying, your revision, everything like that. But there is so much outside of uni that is so much more helpful. Like, I personally think my degree was absolutely useless. My undergrad degree was absolutely useless because I could have done something else that I loved, But instead I had to do this. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
And that came after I left uni, like, oh, because no one, like, you know, no one tells you these things, but it's kind of like a learning process. But honestly, life after this, what you guys go through, is going to get better, okay? It may get worse, obviously, because, you know, being an adult, but it will get better. And you will see that, like, you will be thankful that those years are behind you, that these current years that you're in. And it will pay off. Your hard work is going to pay off, inshallah. It will. You just have to kind of suck it in.
Experiences shaping you. So
definitely.
If it went all smoothly, then it wouldn't really help you in the course of life after.
Yeah.
So at least at this moment, it seems really terrible. At least it's kind of grafting you and helping you to become like the best possible. It's pushing your boundaries.
Definitely. We're coming to our break. Inshallah, join us in the second half of the show where we'll be discussing more of Is Life What You Make It? And a string of other topics as well. So stay tuned in about a few minutes, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Atif Nawaz. Listen to Inspire FM shows in your time by heading over to inspirefm.org or listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome back to Sister Speak on Inspire 105.1 FM. And you're back with us. Just before the break, we were just discussing Is Life What You Make It? So, moving on now. Do we ever really stop to think why we are going through a certain trial?
I think you do while you're trying to get over it, I guess. Or while you're going through it, maybe. You think about, like, why is this happening to me? Do you not? I think so. I think if you're going through a really difficult time, whilst you're going through it, the thought does come across your head. Like, you think, why is this happening? And then you go through all the reasons that culminate to that point.
I think it definitely does come to your mind because you just think, like, why are you in this situation? Why have all your options have been, like, closing to you? Or, you know, it's just like, how do you cope? And my question always be like, how do I cope with this? I think that is kind of does go back to being hopeful though. If you lack hope, you kind of think about, okay, like, why is this happening to me? It shouldn't happen this way. I'm so set back. You start to think very negatively, and it really spirals out of control. But if you adopted a kind of a attitude of gratitude, wow, that rhymes, and you if you adopted like more optimism, then you wouldn't really have. You would kind of like challenge those thoughts. You would interrupt those negative thoughts. You know, what if it worked positively? Like, I can make things go positively now. I'm here right now, and I can change. Now, I can't change what's happened to me, but I can change the way I react to it, and I can help myself to move to a better standing.
Or maybe when you're
control. But I think it's because we're very used to, very accustomed to kind of just, you know, expect everything to go so smoothly.
Yeah, definitely.
We're not quite equipped to face challenges upon challenges upon challenges. I think also because we're in a very fast-moving society where we get things very quickly and we get frustrated when things don't happen quickly. Even if you look at social media, when things don't load or when your Wi-Fi is not working, you get frustrated very quickly. If you really think about it, it's kind of ridiculous that we get frustrated with that because we have such a fast-paced society. We have such high expectation. We almost are very entitled to everything, and so that's why when we face something that kind of interrupts that smooth kind of sailing ship, we don't know what to do. We don't know how to react to it.
Namisa?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think what I was going to say was maybe when you're going through a trial or something, instead of thinking about how did I get here, just think about how to solve it first of all.
Yeah.
After you've solved it, then maybe you can think about it. Because think about it in emergency situations and things like that. You won't have time to think about why did this happen. You have to solve the situation ASAP, like whatever it is. So if you think about when you're in a trial or things like that, that way you can actually sort the issue. And then later on, if you need to think about it, you can think about why you got there.
That really hit me. I'm not going to even lie. Like, that's going to stay with me, Namisa.
No, I'm sure it's harder to adopt than it is to
because literally that's exactly how I reacted to my grade today. Like, I literally don't have time
to think about.
if I react to it in a negative way, then I'm going to lose out. So
Yeah,
I've got
for
to think,
sure.
How do I solve this?
Exactly. Because, I had a similar situation. I got back one of my assignments. I actually thought I did really well. And then the grade ended up being, not exactly what I wanted.
Oh.
And it was annoying because it's like you can't, at this moment in time, when I have my exam, only less than 2 weeks away, it was at that point, I was like, well, I can make up for it in the exam if I study hard now. If I just sit here and think, why did I get that grade? Why didn't she give me the extra percentages that I wanted? All of that type of stuff. What I want isn't going to happen. Whereas I have the chance now, if I study hard, to get those extra percentages in my actual exam and make it so that bad grade, it doesn't even count. It's not a bad grade, but, like Mariam said, you have to be grateful for everything that you get. Yeah. But, there's we are human. There's certain things that we want. So if you're in a position where, you feel like it's a trial or a tribulation, just try and work on getting through it. Try and work on making your future better than what you're going through right now.
I also think, although as Faiza was saying before the show, this university is a very big bubble. Even this is, I would consider these grades, the grades that you want to get and you don't get it, as small rejections, because that's what you're going to face outside of university when you're applying for jobs.
Yeah.
When you want something to go in your way and it's not happening, that's what's going to happen. So I think if you're able to cope with investing and putting effort towards something and it's not happening your way, if you develop that resilience, you're able to kind of confront any challenge that you're thrown with. And I think what's really important is what Lamisa is saying, is making sure that you before thinking about anything else, think about how you're going to mitigate the situation, how you're going to push yourself forward rather than push yourself backward or stay stationary. I think it's really important, because otherwise it's just going to get worse. You want to think, how can I make this better? And make it better for yourself, because if you just stay in one place and you feel really negative, then it's going to make you feel even worse, and it's more likely that you're going to get worse grades because you haven't invested the time to study in the other things, because your mind is just so filled with this sadness that you just didn't get what you wanted. Whereas if you have that motivation and you discipline yourself, you feel more charged to kind of get that grade.
Yeah.
That you want.
Well, I guess it's because we're students, we focus the conversation around studying all the time. But I guess for anyone really, in any sort of situation, whatever it is. It's a good,
clear example, though.
Yeah, it's a good example. But whatever it is, you can try and apply this way of thinking to whatever situation you have.
Yeah. Would you say you're the type of person who does things in life that the future you would be thankful for?
I'm trying to be that person.
Would thank you for.
I'm trying to.
I don't even know what the future me wants. So I don't even know what the present me wants. Very difficult to answer.
No, but even right now, it could be anything. Yeah. Looking from your past to now, would you say you're the type of person who does things in life that the future you would thank for?
I think now, sorry,
No.
I think at this point, I think I would say yes. I think 1 year ago, 2 years ago, no. Because now I have learned to have emotional intelligence. I've learned to gain emotional resilience. And I'm not saying I've developed it, but I'm gaining aspects of it, and I'm learning how to kind of control my emotions, even though they're maybe even just 5%. I still think that's progress. I might be 95% reacting, but 5% I've gained the ability to kind of think and take 2 steps back. And I think that's what life's about. It's about progressing and confronting your own kind of inabilities. I think that for me, for our future self, would be thankful because I'm taking those steps. The first step is always hardest. You just keep going and keep going.
I think everything that I've done up until now, it has been for my future self and is for my future self.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm yet to see the fruit of all of this.
I've seen your progress. We've
yeah.
seen definitely how your progress has. It's flourished.
Wow.
Very good. I'm sure you've inspired so many people.
Definitely, 100%.
So,
But, I hope that the future, it works out in the end. And that is something I should have done for the future me. Put my phone off. Yeah. But yeah, I think at the same time, it's important to enjoy. I think what I've learned whilst being at uni, it's important to enjoy what you're doing right now, but also work hard enough for the future.
Yeah.
If I obviously I'm a student, so I'm just going to bring it to students. As much as you hate revising and you hate all of that stuff, do it, because when that result day comes, you're going to feel rubbish if you end up getting the grade that you didn't want. So whether that be, you know, a really high grade or a really low grade, it doesn't matter. It's what you want. Everyone has their own standards. If you don't meet your own standard for yourself, you're going to feel sad about that. So for that thing, and you know the effects of those grades are going to be longer lasting than whatever it is you're doing now. So put that effort in. But also, like, don't put off everything for studying. Don't put off everything for that future you, thinking that, oh my, like, this is the end of everything. It's not. You need to, at the same time, have balance. You need to be like, okay, I'm going to study as hard as I can or try my best, but I'm also going to enjoy my life. Like, I'm going to, you know, or else how are you going to live? You're going to end up going...
Yeah, you're not going to live to see that progress. You don't know. There's no guarantee.
Or you might end up, you know, pushing yourself so hard that you end up ruining your chances for the future. So I say do everything in balance, prepare for the future and enjoy the present.
What about emotional independence? Do you think that's important?
Independence.
Do you think having emotional independence is important? Before we go to that, emotional independence is a process where we learn to kind of exercise having that willpower and greater control in ourselves. So do you think being emotionally independent is important?
Do people actually like practice building up their
I think life
emotional resilience? Because I feel isn't it just a natural process?
Yeah, I've never heard of emotional independence, but I've heard emotional intelligence. But I think it's having self-awareness where it really stems from. When you're very self-aware of your own kind of abilities and your strengths and your weaknesses and how you actually treat people and your compassion, I think when you have that self-awareness, it enables you to be able to kind of, exercise those kind of...
Do you think people in our society nowadays lack
Yeah.
this quality?
I think so.
Really do lack emotional intelligence.
In what ways? Like,
I feel like people, I mean, this is might seem a very insignificant kind of way, but I think it is kind of a big thing. When you're talking to someone and and someone's on their phone while they're talking to you, you're kind of denying them that eye contact, you're denying them that interaction, and you're denying them that attention.
That's a good example.
You're neglecting them just by looking at your phone, and that's not emotional intelligence, because you're saying and what you're implying is that my phone is more important than you, your physical presence.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing, and we take it in such a small way, but it's not.
No, definitely.
So I think we need to kind of be more conscious of how we're interacting, and I think emotional intelligence really boils down to your communication and your compassion, and those two things really make it how you kind of interact with yourself, interact with others, and how you treat other people as well.
Yeah, and it brings in the empathy factor as well, you know, putting yourself in other people's shoes. Because I think sometimes we're so set on our own lives and things like that, you don't know what someone else is going through when you're speaking to them, and how the way you're interacting with them as well. You're probably, like, for example, the example that you just gave now about the whole, you know, denying someone just one interaction just because you're on your phone, while that person could be expressing to you something
so important.
And how about how they're feeling and things like that, and you're just completely, you know, denying them over it. It's not fair. I mean, I think
we shouldn't have that. Like, you know, the Prophet, he would turn around physically, his whole body, to talk to someone, because I always say this, you know, the Prophet had, before there was rules, regulations, he had emotional intelligence, and that's why he was able to spread. He was able to interact with people, big, small, no matter what background they were in, because he had emotional intelligence. He had that compassion. He had the ability to listen to people. He had the ability to give attention to people, and he never denied people for what they were. He always gave them like that attention, and whoever was in his way felt special. He made everyone feel special, and I think that's what we're lacking. You know, that's what being philanthropic is being able to make people don't deny people that simple basic interaction just because you think, just because you want to like a post on Instagram, or you just think email's more important, then don't put yourself in that situation. That's basic manners. I think that's a lack of manners if you're doing
definitely that. And I think in relation to emotional independence, it's also like, don't be shy of being alone. You know, don't be shy of kind of doing things by yourself, because sometimes I think as you're going through life as well, sometimes you just need someone to kind of like, is an expression, to kind of hold your hand to go through certain things. But at the same time, as life goes on, you're gonna become more independent yourself. But having that emotional independence, you know, I think controlling your feelings, making your own independent choices because of you want to do it, not because you're being influenced or because, you know, you have to do it or is guilt or something, but doing things how you want to do it because this is how you see it. You're finally at that stage where you don't have someone, that you don't need someone to hold your hand throughout every step of the way. And sometimes just letting go of that, it might be a little bit of anxiety. Maybe sometimes you don't want to do things by yourself. But I think that also comes from being in your own comfort zone too much as well. That can be such a downfall for you. Like, you need to kind of come out of that in order to go forward. Because if you're going to completely stay within one kind of your comfort zone, where are you going to progress? Where are you going to go? All you'll know is what you already know. And that kind of fear of, oh, I don't know what's going to happen, so I'm not going to do it. Or I'm just scared. You know, you just have to take that step. And that's kind of, you know, your own intuition, your own choice. Once you kind of go over that step, you don't know what you can achieve. And sorry, you can see different paths as well. You open yourself up to more opportunities. You open yourself up to different things that you never thought you'd be able to open yourself up to before.
Yeah, sometimes like we feel that, you know, when things are unexpected, you feel like that's the only direction there is, but actually maybe Allah's redirecting you to something better. And I think it's really important to have that faith at that moment, because one example that I've given so many times in the show is my placement one, which is like 1 whole year ago. Wow.
No way.
Yeah, and like I really wanted a specific one in terms of my organization. I really wanted to work in the policy department. But then I got a job I applied for a job that I really didn't want. It was in administration. But when I got to that job, as I said before, I wanted to work in student engagement, and this was an administrative role. The day of my first day of my job, my line manager said, you can choose between this one or that one. And I was like, I want that one, because there was 2 job roles. And then on my first day, when I went to my office, on the door, it literally just said student engagement, even though I did not apply for that. You know, and then that was the best experience ever, because it was so flexible to my needs. My line manager was amazing. He was absolutely incredible. I was able to take ownership of my own kind of skills. So I got to choose what projects I wanted to do, what training I wanted to do. And usually when you do placements, you have a line manager that's always like telling you what to do. But here, I took ownership of my own skills. So had I not, like, you know, if I didn't face that rejection and I didn't, you know, persevere, I would have not got that. And at the same time, I really think about it now, I'm actually working for the policy department at my university in terms of BAME. So now I'm doing something more I'm more passionate about. So you don't
That's
know
really good. Yeah.
you don't know what's in store for you. And on the back of that, I initially had that intention. I wanted it for my organisation. I'm launching my organisation, inshallah, in 2 weeks.
That's,
so, you know,
yeah.
like, it's amazing. Like, you don't know where life's going to take you. And I think it's just having that faith in God. Like, it really is such a powerful, powerful thing. And like I just thought about it right now. Like, even though I keep going back to that same example, I didn't get that grade. At least I can see that I've progressed a little bit.
Yeah.
And I may have lost those marks, but at least I gained a little bit more faith.
Yeah.
And at least I'm talking to Allah a little bit more.
And
Because I never got that grade.
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
and not gonna lie, I think one of the most like amazing things about, you know, when you're being tested or when you're going through like a tribulation is seeing the positive out of it. Like, there was like, look how far you've come from that like trial or tribulation in the journey. Like, you know how they say there's beauty in the struggle, and there is. And I think sometimes, you know, we see when something doesn't go our way, we always view it as a negative. But I think sometimes you should view it as a positive. See, you know, why it went that way, and change it to a positive. You know, like, it went that way for a certain reason. And, you know, at the same time, also keep in mind, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala planned this for you. You know, we can plan, He will plan, and His plan is what's best for us. So maybe things didn't go a certain way because of it was planned, and maybe that saved you from something else. Yeah,
Definitely, 100%.
I think there's beauty definitely in that kind of
Just be more
the
hopeful.
struggle
I think
there.
we need to adopt more hope in our lives. Like,
But it's easy to lose hope as
it's
well, don't
very
you think?
easy. So you need to remind yourself, and you need also company. I think that's one thing that we need to talk about as well.
It's
Having
company.
that helps you to kind of reminds you that it's okay. This is just temporary, and like we'll get through it. Like, end of the day, we know that Allah loves us a lot, and like these things are not definitive of your whole, you know, success. They're not.
Yeah.
You're gonna keep moving forward. You're gonna keep progressing. It's just one step of the hurdle.
Do you have a lot of what ifs when it comes to life?
I read this post the other day about this person who has anxiety and has depression, and their therapist said to them, because when you have anxiety, I suffer from anxiety. When you have anxiety, you always think, what if something's going to go wrong? But the therapist said to that person, why don't you interrupt your thoughts and say, what if it goes right? I think that's quite powerful, because when you're more hopeful, you're more likely to be more productive,
Mm-hmm.
and you're more likely to produce something better than if you're already, for example, if you're going to do, contextualize this to doing it all the time, but say if you're doing a module or you're doing an essay, if you already have, before you even start it and you think, what if I get a bad grade, you're setting yourself up for that, because you already feel so negative already when you're producing it. But if you think, wait, what if I get a 70, and you're like ambitious, you'll feel comfortable doing it and you'll produce better work. So, yeah.
Do you have a lot of what ifs?
I think last year I had a lot of what ifs. This year I'm more like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, my friend.
And I think there's no point in thinking what if, because that it didn't happen. So why are you thinking that? Why are you going to waste your time? Like, our life is so short. We need to make I feel like everyone feels like they need to make an impact. If you're spending all your time thinking about what if this and what if that, of hypothetical situations that never happened and never will happen,
Yeah.
you're just wasting time, and you're changing your own mental state to one that's like, sad and hungover about what's happened in the past, when you could be thinking about the future what ifs. I think it's good to think about future what ifs, like, if I study now, if I do well now, then what's going to happen in the future? Maybe, I might become the next prime minister, something like that. These types of things, it's good to think about. Picture yourself in good situations.
Yeah.
Think about those future what ifs, not the negative ones, and definitely not ones about the past.
But I think when it comes to what ifs, I feel like our negative what ifs kind of overpower the positive
Always.
ones.
Have you ever thought of a positive, like, what if of the past? Like, oh, what if that
I
happened?
don't think I've ever
No.
thought of anything positive.
Whenever you think of oh, what if this, it's always negative.
Yeah.
Unless you're really,
So we need
really
to start
positive
changing
person.
that.
Do you think that's just an instinctive thing that we just do?
I think it's just how we kind of use, even just...
Isn't it a coping mechanism? Like, I feel like it's a way to overcome that
Do you feel
hurt.
better saying, oh, what
I
if
don't know
that
if people feel
happened?
better, but I feel like maybe it helps us we're trying to rationalize the situation,
Yeah.
right? Or we're trying to think like, okay, if it didn't happen that way, then it wouldn't have happened. So it would have been fine. Like, that type of thing. I think it's a way of us trying to comfort ourselves about the situation. Like, okay, if I'd done it another way, then it very easily could have been the outcome that I wanted. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, we then again come to the realization that unfortunately, whatever's happened is not going to change.
It's meant to be. And I think as Muslims, we can have that comfort. It's meant
For
to
sure.
be. It's supposed to be that way, so there is no what if. The reason why those circumstances happened upon you is because Allah decreed it. And then that's it. So now move on. I know it's easier.
It's easier said than done.
For
Yeah.
sure. But
I think in that moment, again, I'm going back, I'm reiterating it. Have that sense of hope.
And it's that journey as well. You're
Yeah.
building that up. These are the things that are going to build you up for the future. Because whatever, I'm 19 years old. I feel like, I've been through
Such a
so much. I
baby.
literally haven't been through anything.
Yeah.
But,
You don't know what's to come when you reach an adult.
Exactly. No, during my A-levels, I went to my dad and I was like, I think this is the hardest thing I'm ever going to go through in my life, This is the biggest thing ever. And my dad just laughed at me. He was like, you don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's like, the longer you live, you're obviously going to come across things that are going to be difficult for you. But the
Yeah.
point is, that is what's building you up. And as a Muslim, that's what's building your faith in God as well. I think you have to start to have that journey within yourself where you're like, I'm going to start putting more trust in God. I'm going to stress less about it. And I'm just going to live life in a happy level.
Oh. I think, how would you sum up your life so far?
So far, it's been great. Alhamdulillah.
I mean,
I have no,
come on.
I don't really have any complaints. I think I've been very blessed in literally all aspects of my life, alhamdulillah. And for that, I'm very, very grateful. I'm also kind of scared because I'm like, I don't know what's going to come. But I think, whatever's happened, like obviously there's been some low parts, but I think I've been blessed with those low parts as well because it's got me to where I am today. And I'm happy with that. And I'm happy with where I am. There are places that I want to be, but we are going to work towards that, and we're going to get there, inshallah. So, you know, that's, I think so far my life, alhamdulillah, has been good. I have a very nice family, and shout out to them. So, yeah.
I agree. I think a lot of the things that I faced in my life, I feel like they definitely have shaped me the way I am today. And it's really helped me, like pushed me really out of my like depth to do the things that, like my passions, I'm able to do them because the challenges I've faced in my life has helped enable me the strength to produce that.
Definitely.
So, and also I think along the way it has really strengthened my faith. So I wouldn't have it any other way. Like I don't think I would have that connection if I didn't go through certain things. So for me, it's just like continuing that, developing that, and also kind of being able to kind of have that self-awareness of where where I am right now, and where I want to go. Because even in the Quran, there's an ayah, where are you going? I think that's so profound. Like, where are you going? You got to think about that. Like, when you're doing things, what is your purpose? What direction are you taking yourself? So yeah,
I think that's a key thing to take forward. Actually, is why are you doing what you're doing right now?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're just doing it because you know.
It's very easy.
Well, you could use that time to do something better for you. It's
I think a lot of people our age have that issue where we don't know what we're doing or why we're doing it.
I think it's like
just for a system, just to move the masses. Like
from these ages of like between when you're at uni to like now, after uni, like reaching the adult time of like, you know, now you have to like do this and you have to pay tax and all this kind of stuff. Like, what is your life? And you're still kind of
working it out
and working it through. But to be honest, that's okay as well. Sometimes you don't need to have an exact set plan on what you want to do. Like sometimes it's okay to just, you know, take a breather, take a step back, try something else. Then you can see you have options, you know?
I think especially now's the time as well when you're young to try different things.
Do it. Don't waste your time on something that you do not want to do or something that you dislike, because it will be a waste of time and you will regret it.
Yeah, I feel like that when you invest yourself the most when you're young, it's like it comes out.
But thank you everyone for listening and join us next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We stream our daily broadcast on inspirefm.org. You'll find all our daily updates on our social media at Inspire FM Luton.